welcome DC Douglas.
Where are we? Morning? Afternoon? Good morning. Good morning, noon. Oh, is this vodka? They're so mellow here.
So how are we? Are we enjoying the convention so far?
Yeah, no, it's lovely. It's usually I'm at Bridges like a general convention thing, so it's unusual to be at something that's just specifically Transformers. So I've gotten so much chase love this today already, and more than I've had at any other convention. So that's actually been really nice. So because I love doing the show. So.
Good stuff. Okay, so to start off with, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you got into this sort of thing that means you're on stage doing silly voices?
I started as a go-go dancer in the 80s, and let's see, I've always been an actor since I was a kid. Around, I think it was at age 7 when I decided I wanted to be an actor, and then I started doing anything in school plays, things like that, and then I got into community theater, and that was up in Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. And then when I was 19, I moved to Los Angeles, and I went to an acting trade school for film and television. And then from there, I had an improv group that was horrible. So then we decided to become a comedy group and write our stuff, so at least we knew we'd sort of be funny. And then from there, little side note, a very famous porn star was in our improv group. He later became a famous porn star. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. And then I did a lot of theater in Los Angeles, Theater of No, and other companies. And then voiceover I just sort of stumbled into because everyone kept telling me I had a nice voice. And the first one that I did was I was in the ride of an AT&T ride at Epcot Center. It was my very first real voiceover gig. And then it kind of was like intermittent throughout the 90s. I'd do like some promos here or there, but nothing really big. And then I finally landed a good agent in the early aughts, like 2000, 2001, I think. And yeah, and then I just started landing like good commercial gigs, and then video games. I started doing a lot of those. The first video game I did was in 2000 called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And yeah, I played the master because back then, like the actors from the shows were like, we're not going to do the video game. It was like so beneath them, and now they're like, yeah, what are you paying? We'll do it. So I got to do the master's voice in that. And then I started getting into a lot of JRPGs, so like Tales of Vesperia, Dot Hack, a lot of things like that. And then I landed my first big thing, which was Albert Wesker in Umbrella Chronicles, which then led to Resident Evil 5, and I've ended up doing altogether about 7 or 8 games as Albert Wesker. And then the following year I landed another big game, which was Mass Effect 2, playing Legion. So those are two like the big claim to fame things. And then I guess the next big thing I got was Transformers Rescue Bots in the voiceover world. So, and on the commercial side, I ended up having a Geico campaign, which was great for a couple of years, helped me buy a house. Yeah, so that's just it. So I make most of my living doing voiceover in all sorts of stuff: cartoons, video games, commercials, and then I occasionally do on-camera stuff. I've been on NCIS, Charmed, and NYPD Blue. We're going way back. I was on ER, Criminal Minds, Sharknado 2. Let's hear it. Yeah, so stuff like that. So that's generally that's me in a nutshell.
Cool. So how would you say from your acting experience, what's the difference between voice acting for say like a game or a show compared to normal real life acting, in-person acting?
The difference between like doing a game, the way is that with, let's see how to put it. With on-camera work, if you're doing a play, you get to work on it for 6 weeks, and then you get to go and perform it, and every night you get to perform it without any breaks all the way through. You get that full rhythm of being an actor, and you get the audience energy as well, which is a wonderful experience, like I had last night. So there's that. Then you get into film, where you get the script ahead of time. You can work on your character, but then you show up that day and then you start filming it. Of course, it's broken up and you repeat sections over and over until they get what they want, and from different angles. Television, you get the script maybe a couple days before, so you don't have that much time to work on it. And then they literally, it's just a couple takes and they move on really quickly. So there's that experience. Then you flip over to the voiceover side of it. And so for instance, for video games, we don't get to see the script at all. We literally walk in and they go, okay, your first cue. And you're like, okay, who am I? What's going on here? And they kind of talk you through it. They're better at it now. In the 90s, they were horrible at it. So that's why a lot of the voice acting in those early video games is so bad, is because it was coders were basically putting lines of dialogue on an Excel sheet and then handing it to a studio, and then the person directing the session goes, don't really know what's going on here, so let's say it like you're angry and then you're happy and then you're sad. Or you're like, you're in battle, you're not in battle, we're not sure. But then with cartoons, you usually get the script a couple days before, so you know what you're going to be doing. And then when you show up, you get to act with other people. So with video games, I'm going in alone. So like Resident Evil, Mass Effect, I didn't get to meet the other actors. I was alone in a booth with the director on the other side, or on a phone patch. But with cartoons, usually, they can get a group of you together. Sometimes the whole cast, sometimes it's like sections of the cast. But then you can play off of each other, and you'll go through the scene as a scene, so you can have that nice, again, back to that flow of acting like you're doing theater, or a sitcom, in fact. So it's much more rewarding that way as an actor, and less technical, more organic. Whereas video games, you have to generate the organic, but which requires a lot of technique, which is kind of an oxymoron, but yeah. So that's sort of the difference. I hope that makes sense. I'm jet lagged, and I got really hungover yesterday, so I'm not sure if everything I say makes sense or not. I just want you to just try to give myself a big excuse.
You're doing TF Nation right. That's fine. So you said about Rescue Bots. So is that filmed as a whole cast then, or recorded even?
Yeah, with Rescue Bots, early on we actually did the entire cast, so everybody would be there, LeVar Burton, all of them. And the problem was we got along so well, and we liked to screw around so much that our director June explained it was wonderful. She's like, I love the vibe, but we're not getting a lot of work done. So she kind of broke it down to go, I'm just bringing in all the bots for this, and now I'm going to bring the family for this. Like, kind of sort of kept us a little more separated. But we'd see each other. Like, I've only done a couple cartoons in my life. And I was in regular show, the last season of regular show was Colonel Rawls, which is a lovely group and all of that, but I didn't feel like I was... Rescue Bots, we became like a family. We literally were all on a thread on WhatsApp right now, so I could like start messaging all of them. And we like keep in touch with each other to see what's going on. And the show's been off the air for a couple of years, so, but it was a real special experience. And just really great people. And I learned so much by working with those people. Like, Maurice LaMarche, Jason Marsden, Steve Bloom. This is just amazingly, Jeff Bennett, Mark Hamill, and Tim Curry. Oh my God! Yes, I love that show. Now I'm getting sad. Why did you bring me to this convention?
I'm sorry. So, how many people? So raise your hands. How many people watch Rescue Bots here?
Yeah. Yep.
For me, it's like personally, it's one of my favourite shows. I think it's amazing. I think there's a lot of Transformers. If you're listening and you're not on the panel, watch Rescue Bots, people. Come on.
Be a good citizen.
Yeah, anyone who knows me knows that I like the vibe, and I think it's written really well. But so obviously you've not worked many of the cartoons, but what do you think of it as a show?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. Look at this guy. It's as an adult you can also be entertained, and they. I don't want to say it's subversive, because it's not subversive, but they definitely work in some adult themes as well, which are great for the kids to learn. I would say adult themes. I mean, social interactions and things like that. So it's more than just like, they don't, as someone else was saying, they don't talk down to the kids. And that's what's great about the show. And that's a credit to the writers who did such a fantastic job. Nicole, like hangover brains. Anyway, look up the cast list and the writers and the crew and all that. Really a great team behind it. So.
What would you say your favorite episode is?
Oh, that's hard.
Is it the singing episode? Because I love that one.
Which one?
The singing one where you all get like...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's got to be one of them. Was the singing episode. It was pretty remarkable that we all got to do that. I worked on that song, and then the day for me to go in to record, I had a cold. And I was like, so my voice is scrappy. And he's like, we think it'll be okay. And so we did the song, and it was sort of okay. And thank God they came back like a month later, and they go, we're going to re-record it because you were sick. And I'm like, yes, yay! So I'm proud about that. Yeah, that is one of my favorite episodes. I like the detective one.
Yeah. Very noir, right?
And There's also one where there's a personality change and I become Diamond, I think. And Diamond becomes me, yeah. So basically, so it's Chase as a little girl. So that was really fun too, yeah.
One of the questions is actually more like a statement. The character Blades, it seems to be more, he seems to be similar to Roger from American Dad, but much more friendly and a lot less coarse. And it must have been absolutely fun for you to be voicing a police spot. And then on that episode, everyone was switching voices to be literally a big, massive, probably racing car being voiced by a wee lassie. It must have been brilliant. A lassie's a wee child. Sorry, my Scottish accent.
No worries, no worries.
What's the question?
So it was very fun to do that episode. Well, the way we did that also is because, so we had Diamond, I forgot my names today. Diamond, who's like really freaking famous now. She's like an amazing singer. She's like the new Whitney Houston. So we record our scenes together, but she would do my line first as the character, as her character, and then I would repeat it as Chase, so we could get the read. Then I would do my line as Chase, and then she would repeat it. It was a really complicated recording process, but it was very fun. Yeah, there's a lot of laughs in it.
In the episode 4 Robots and a Baby, Charles sung Rock My Baby, and I was just wondering what Wesker would sound like singing that.
I certainly have it. What would Wesker sound like doing what?
Rock My Baby.
Rockabye baby.
Oh! Rockabye baby. In the treetop. I forgot his when the wind blows. Down will come baby. Cradle and all! She's had her hand up so efficiently this whole time.
Did you do any work on Mass Effect Andromeda?
No, I didn't. It's a whole other. I haven't played the game, but I think it's like a whole other time period and all. Someone else will probably be able to tell me better. There's no Geth in that world. If they ever have the Geth, supposedly I would be doing the voicing because I'm the voice of all the Geth. Yeah, so no, I didn't do any. Though Katie Townsend's a friend of mine. So she plays the voice of that character in that game. I'm actually still in my hotel room in bed. You just don't know it.
Take another question for him.
Yeah, speaking like production-wise, when you're a voice actor, is there a difference between when you're doing like a proper cartoon or dubbing an anime? Is there a difference?
Well, there's some differences and some things are the same. So, for instance, as an actor, you know, you're always going to approach it with creating the character, knowing what your backstory is, what the intent is, all of that. So that stuff's always the same no matter what the thing is. What changes are the technical requirements of it. So for instance, doing a cartoon, they haven't done the visuals yet. So you have the freedom of just, you know, we know what the action is because it's written in the script, what we're doing, but we have the freedom to create how it's going to be with that character. And we can add in extra things and then they go, oh hey, that's funny, we'll add that in as well to the visuals. But with doing anime, they've already done that in Japan. So when we get it, we're basically, they have to reinterpret the line into English, but they make it so it fits the lips. So sometimes they have to swap out like a better word for a word that's not as good for it, but fits the lips, right? And then we as actors, as much as I want to like have fun with that character, I have to do it at the same timing, match kind of what they've done visually with the face. So there's a lot more limitations on it, so a lot more technical requirements. But still, underneath all of that, you still have to have, you know, the fire, you know, whatever is real about it for you. So yeah, it's a whole different. I mean, obviously, everyone prefers just to go in and be free and like that, just do the character. So, so anime is yeah different. But flip side is I go to these conventions and not many people know like my cartoons, but they know all those JRPGs I did, and it's like, that's given me a convention life, so I'm quite thankful for anime. I kind of poo-pooed it for a long time, and I feel bad because, yeah, I could be going to so many more conventions.
So, Chase doesn't really have a very naturalistic voice. So I wonder how you came to that voice. Was that a director thing, or was it you interpreting it?
Well, let me tell you. No, I just wanted to stand, so I don't fall asleep. That's actually interesting because the way I auditioned for that, they said that it was one of like a dragnet voice. So when I actually posted this online, you can probably find it on YouTube or on my website somewhere, but like look up like DC Douglas Chase audition, and you can hear, I put out my audition file, because Chase originally sounded like dragnet, so everything was said very quickly and always with the same kind of intonation in the voice. And when we went to do the first episode, I did Chase like this the entire time, and about 10 minutes into it, the director went, "This is not going to work for 22 episodes." So we went, we got to give Chase a little more room. So actually, if you watch the show, you watch like the first couple episodes, Chase is a little more like this, and he's not very expressive. But then as the episodes go, he starts to get a little more expression, and all of a sudden he's doing theater. He becomes way more expressive by the end of that series. So yeah, so that's how it. So it's originally Dragnet, and then in the first recording session, we kind of changed it up. So, but that's what's so weird about acting and voice. So for instance, you know, that voice does not require, you know, like when I think of like Steve Bloom and some of the voices he does in the straight, like all of that stuff that they put the contortions through to create a character voice. Chase, you just need an announcer guy, someone who does Don Pardo, and to do that voice. But the reason, this is how the business works, is that it's like who you know, and it's not a bad thing, it's just natural. It's like, I've worked with them, I know that they can do the job that I need, and I like them. And that's like in all industries, but in the acting world especially. So for instance, that audition came through my agent, and I auditioned for it. Jenny McSwain was the casting director on it. She directed me in Mass Effect 2. So she went, "Oh, I know DC Douglas, I like working with DC Douglas." She takes the audition, puts it on the short pile. And that's how lucky I got. Like literally, could have been anybody else thrown in that short pile, but because she knew me, I got put in that pile. To the point, I guess my point being about the voice direction stuff is that even though I got the role doing that one kind of voice, they were not just hiring the voice, they're hiring the actor. And so that's why they go, let's now change up the voice a little bit in that first episode. So I don't know if I'm illuminating anything, I love hearing my own voice. So keep talking until you shut me up. Somebody shut me up now, immediately.
Okay, next question.
Hi, first of all, thank you for the message from my nephew and my cousin's little boy. And I was just wondering, out of everything you've ever recorded, which was your favourite thing that you've ever done?
Oh shucks, it's so hard because you like things for different reasons. So I mean, I love doing Chase because, well, one, it's an easier character for me to do, obviously. But also, I mean, it was a cartoon. I got residuals on it. I got to work with other actors. I got to meet amazing actors. So I love it for that. But at the same time, you know, doing Albert Wesker Resident Evil brought me the most fans I've ever had in my life. I never thought I'd have fans in my life, and so I love it for that. But then there's other little things, like I did a dance instructor in Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Anybody know that game? Persona 4 Dancing All Night? Wow, there's nobody here who knows that. Oh, you do? You know it? So I'm the dance instructor. Ladies! See, I got one fan over here. But it was like just a hysterical, very un-PC voice, but it was fun to do that character. So I like them all for various different reasons. So yeah.
Did you watch Transformers when you were little?
When I was little? Oh. I thought we had a time paradox there. It's like, did I watch my own show when I was little? I did, man. It was so trippy. No, when I was a kid, when I was a kid, I don't think there were no Transformers. I know, can you believe it? There was a time when there were no Transformers. I watched Rocky and Bullwinkle and the Flintstones and Speed Racer. It was my first anime. So, well, actually that was live action. Ultraman was my other favorite. I liked Ultraman a lot. Yeah, but there was no Transformers when I was a kid. Rocky and Bullwinkle, Sunday mornings, my grandma's house, waking up to the smell of bacon. Ah, that's my childhood memory.
Okay, and behind here.
Hello again.
Hello.
You will never be free of me, I'm sorry. Okay, so of course you're known for Chase, but you're also known for Wesker and Kamoshida from Persona 5, okay, who are both ultimately villains. Basically my point is, would you be up for playing a Decepticon in the future?
Oh my God, yes! I would have in a heartbeat. I would love to play. I like playing evil people. It's more fun to play evil people. So evil anything, evil Decepticon. Yes, I would love to do that. So any casting people here?
Yesterday you seemed like a really funny guy.
And today I'm like a total a-hole, I know.
You seem like a really funny, happy guy, but was there a point where you absolutely hated something you've done?
Can you say that on stage?
Yeah. Let's see. Hated that I've absolutely done. There's a fair amount of on-camera stuff I'm not too proud of, but you know, there was a couple of the early JRPGs that I did that this is the lesson. It's like you've got to respect everything that you do as an actor. And I think at the time I was a little bitter about my career, and I didn't know what these games were for. But I was like, this studio would call me in, and I'm like, yeah, what is it? What do you need? Okay, because I'm just trying to make this money. Like it was my attitude was bad, and so it shows in my performance because I'm like. They would play like the Japanese triangle, they go something like that, and I go, and unfortunately it just sounded like an announcer guy to me. And the performance is in a game called, hang on, I'm gonna get it. Eternal Sonata, that's like one of them. Where I hear that character and I'm like going, oh, I could have done more with that. It feels like it was just like I don't want to say phoning it in, but yeah, sort of phoning it in. And so I'm disappointed in myself for that. No one else's fault but mine. And I think the only other one that I'm a little cringy about is the first Albert Wesker I did in Umbrella Chronicles. The problem was that this is when you get to create the voice, it's obviously very freeing because it's an open canvas based off of whatever their specs are. But when you're taking over a voice, you have to, you know, depending on the producers, they're going to want you to voice match them. And I'm not, like, there's really talented people out there that can do voice matches like that. John Bailey being an insanely talented guy. You guys might know him. He's done, like, Optimus Prime stuff. And another character, too, on one of those games. But so for me, I'm not. Like, sometimes I get lucky. I voice matched Kevin Spacey, which now I guess I shouldn't talk about anymore. But I voice matched him in one of the Santa Claus movies or whatever, Christmas movies. And then I did Val Kilmer. For some reason, I was Val Kilmer doing. Who was the pop artist? Andy Warhol, yeah. So it was that movie where he played Andy Warhol. So I was doing Val Kilmer doing Andy Warhol. I came in and I voiced him doing a scene because he's off camera for it all. So those are like one of those few times I was able to voice match. But like, what am I talking about? Oh, okay. So Umbrella Chronicles is I go in there and they wanted me to match Peter Jessup, who, by the way, I know we have the same agent. Very super talented guy, wasn't available for that game. And he's got such a particular way to do that voice. So I got it, we went in there, and it's just all these monologues in that game. And so between myself and the director, we kept trying to keep me doing his voice, and it feels like I'm sort of, I feel awkward in the performance of it. And then when I went to do RE5, they said, we want you like Richard Waugh. I'm like, the whole other voice actor who did that guy. So at that point, then I decided, knowing what I had done the first time that I wasn't as proud of, I'm like, okay, I'll try to do Waugh, but I'm gonna keep sliding in my own stuff with it. And then of course the character's evolving in that game too, so it allowed me to really bring in my own thing. And then I've done so many fan service videos as that character since then that now I feel like it's like I've turned it into the voice that I've always wanted to do. So I'm sure I don't sound just like I did the game. But anyway, those are like some examples of where I'm like, yeah. But for the most part, it's like, my childhood dream was to be an actor, and I'm acting. So even if I'm in the worst piece of crap movie, I'm like, I'm in a movie. They paid me. That was cool.
Okay, next question.
I just want to say a big thanks for you being here. You're an incredibly funny guy and a really talented voice actor.
They're not referring to today. They're referring to the thing I did last night. Because today I'm just like weird. Thank you. And actually, it's No, thank you guys, because you're fans of this stuff. This is what enables me to come to conventions. So without you guys watching the shows and stuff, I wouldn't be here. So no, the thanks is from me to you. But I'm sorry, go over to your question.
My main question was, what advice would you give for anyone who's looking to get into voice acting, or just general tips that would give them sort of passive training?
Don't pursue it. Give up your dreams. I don't need the competition. Well, here's the thing, it's like everyone thinks that there's like one way to do it. There's no one way. In fact, all of us, every one of the voice actors you'll meet probably ask how they got their career started, and there are going to be all sorts of various stories. I've met people that got into it because they were being a DJ first. Somebody got it because they worked at an advertising company as the coffee go-getter or whatever, and scratch tracks. There's so many different ways to get into that business. So a lot of it these days is it's defining, how do you want to pursue that career? In other words, if you go, I want to do it, but I don't want to leave Birmingham. Well, then that tells you the kind of work that you'll be able to get, what you won't be able to get. But if you go, I want to go to London to do it, so that's a whole different story, or Los Angeles or New York. So that opens up a lot more possibilities. But there's no one thing that I can tell you that's going to unlock anything for you, other than you have to kick your own butt. I'm being really good at my PG language today, but you have to kick your own butt. No one else will do it for you. You can ask me, and I still can't help your career. I can barely help my own. But on my website under dcdouglas.com, under About DC, there is a beginning voiceovers guide. And in that, I kind of run down some stuff. But at the bottom, there are links to even better websites about that. One of them is Dee Bradley Baker's website, which is just phenomenal, the amount of information you can get. And that's it. You just start educating yourself about all the possible options, and soon you will begin to put together a path for yourself. But at the very least, I will say this: if you're interested in doing voiceover, I would take an acting class, acting first. You want to, because it all starts with finding the truth. So an acting class, then I would take an improv class, because it's also about creating voices and being the tips of your toes. And then the third would be singing class, because that will help open up your body, get you over any kind of self-consciousness that you have. And also singing is good. So those would be my first basic things I'd say.
Okay, next question over there.
Hi, first of all, I love Rescue Bots and I love Chase. He's my favourite, he's so good. And I just wanted to ask, what's your favourite Transformers media and who's your favourite characters out of them?
What's my favourite Transformers
Media? So like show, comic, film,
Here's the thing, I'm a nerd in nerd culture. So you guys are all the cool people, and I'm the nerd because I don't know a lot of this stuff. I've only played 2 games I've been in. I've only watched, so I watched Transformers Rescue Bots. I love that show. And in fact, the only other Transformer, oh god, don't hate me. The only other Transformer show I've seen is Prime. And I watched that and I'm like, I want to be on that show. Because the 3D effects of it and all were so cool. Plus they get to be really, they get to go dark, and I love that kind of stuff. So I would have liked to have been on that, but favorite character. And again, I'm very limited in what I know, so I watched the show because I knew Steve Blue, and so when I listened to his Starscream, I'm like going, oh my god, that's a fun character. So I mean, those are, and obviously Optimus Prime is, everyone's. So I'm sorry that I'm so pedestrian when it comes to this answer. So I hope that answers it.
Okay, gentleman there.
Oh yeah, I'm just wondering. I was wondering if you'd tell us if Out West is going to be in the new Resident Evil 2 remake.
I have actually. Here's the thing: it's if I were in there, I'd have to say I cannot confirm nor deny. Unfortunately, I can confirm that I am not in it. There's more to that answer, but that part I don't think I should say. So who knows? The game doesn't come out until the beginning of 2019, right? So they can record voiceover up till December, and it still can be in the game when it comes out. So, but I have not gotten a call yet to come in and record anything. And fingers are crossed, I would love to. I love doing that. I mean, I've done a lot of, I did another thing recently. Oh, I don't put that on live room. Yeah, I don't know, sorry. As of right now, no. Next question.
And on the back of that, I've got a quick question actually, and we'll go back over that. So obviously Rescue Bots, as it is, like you said, hasn't aired since 2016?
Rescue Bots?
Rescue Bots, yeah, and there's Rescue Bots Academy next. Am I right?
I'm sorry. Oh, right.
Yeah, what's
so we did
next?
4 seasons.
Chase.
We've been off for a couple years, and then there's the spin-off is Academy. Yeah, which is well, I want to give them. You know, I hope they do well. They went. They had to go non-union with it, so that's why our characters are there, but they're different voices now doing them. I'm cool with it.
Will you be watching?
I want to hear how somebody does voice matches me. That'll be fun. Though I think it'll be pretty easy to voice match me, but I'm looking forward to that. And I'm sure it's also, though, to be honest, it's actually still being written by Nicole DeBeck, and she's amazing, super talented. So it's still going to be a really good show. It's just not, I just miss being a part of that. So yeah, I want to watch it, but they're going to be shorter. They're going to be like, I think, 10-minute episodes. Yeah. So anyway, I do look forward to seeing it.
Another question.
Hey.
What's your favorite line in Rescue Bots?
Favorite line? It's actually on my reel. I don't even know if I know it by heart though. It's he's trying to call for help because they're about to fall off a cliff, and Sue's going, emergency, help, SOS, mommy. That's my favorite one.
Okay, good question. What's it over there? You've got the question, right? Anyone else? Come on, guys.
Oh, we got one here.
Oh, Dave. Always wants the microphone.
I know. Yeah, every question I've been asking, somebody's beaten us to the punch. So last night you did a panel.
I was wondering when this would come up.
It was interesting. Without going into too much detail, I'm wondering how you handled that as an actor, getting fans who would send you things like that.
I really was wondering where that question was going.
Yeah.
How do you not get turned on when you do your show? Okay, in case you're wondering what he's talking about, last night I was really grateful that the TF Nation had heard about this show that I do. It's called the Notorious Zombie-Related Erotic Fanfic Show. And it started because of fans of a certain franchise I was in, and it's evolved over time, and it's turned into this 90-minute show that I do at conventions, usually in the US, because at anime cons they have a lot of nighttime stuff go on. And the TF Nation said, hey, can you make it, and it's an over 18 thing, and the TF Nation goes, so could you make it family friendly and more about Transformers?
Out of interest, who was there last night?
Oh, most of you were? Okay, so for those of you who weren't there, that's what we're talking about, is I did the show last night, and it was very fun. And so he's wanting to know how I handle getting this stuff, I guess?
Yeah, just...
Well, listen, there's all types of people in this world. I'm also a very open-minded person, so somebody wants to send me something like that, and I'm like, I'm not obligated to read it. And it's sweet that they do that and all, so it doesn't bother me. I mean, yes, there can be some stuff online where you're like, you don't know me, and you should have consent before you send me that picture. But otherwise, but even then, I'm like, whatever, it doesn't bother me. So and then I turned it into a contest once I realized I was going to use this stuff, and I got very specific with my needs. That sounds really weird, but as in what characters I wanted matched up and things like that. I solicited it from the fan base. So that was actually really fun to do. So I mean, I have to say, I've not had any really bad experiences with fans. It's usually actually the people that aren't fans that I have bad experiences with, Those people that want to be... Here's the problem, is I got in trouble with a thing called Gamergate. I don't know if anybody knows about that. Yeah, I went after them. To me, Gamergate, Tea Party, Trump voter, all the same thing. And of course they would hate that I say that, even though it'll be true when you look at their timeline. I spend too much time online. Those people sometimes that gets a little too much. I have to start blocking people and stuff, but I don't mind if it's. I am a bully when it comes to bullies. I don't believe in. I hate bullies, so that's my trigger point. So when I see people trying to bully other people, I will come in and bully the bully. So I'm intolerant of intolerance. So
this is bouncing off of a previous question. Yeah. Could could you do a Decepticon voice as if it was a audition?
Wow. Can you give me an audition?
You said that you want to be a Decepticon, here's your chance.
Usually there's a spec. Give me a spec. Spec being, you need to tell me, like, so give me something about the character, like his name and what kind of a voice are you looking for?
What does it transform into? That's context.
It transformed into a submarine.
Submarine.
But he's a Decepticon, alright, and...
Personality?
Happy-go-lucky.
Decepticon. I'm gonna hit my mic on your head.
Command.
Decepticon?
So,
are your Decepticon's voice?
they usually have gravel to them. And then he's a submarine, he goes underwater. So you would have more of a sound than this. If this is one for you for a submarine.
You don't deserve that applause at all.
Yeah, very easily, please. It's alright.
Sort of following up on something you were saying earlier on, obviously you do those Trump videos as well.
Yeah, baby!
I wonder, because you are quite proactive on Twitter, and you do take a political stance, whether there's any professional blowback from it. Do you feel that...
Yeah, I get more work. No, I'm kidding. Actually, it's so funny, because this will be a little bit of a long answer, and hopefully I can keep the thread and I don't like go off into La La Land. First off, he's referring to my Trump videos. If you want to see them, it's I started this as like a little personal hobby, and I was doing all the voices, and then other voice actors go, yeah, I hate Trump too, can I like participate? I'm like, really? You'll work for free? Okay! And so I've had like a lot of the rescue bots have been on the show. Maurice LaMarche played Hitler. I've had Steve Bloom played Mnuchin. I've had, you just check it out. It's think of mainstream media, so it's msmbreakingnews.com, msmbreakingnews.com, and you'll see these Trump videos. Trump never appears in them. It's like a nightly newscast, and it's basically covering what's going on in the news at the time. So they get dated literally the day I put them out. They're dated because everything changes like daily with the Trump circus. And then I had to take so we did like 14 episodes or so, and then I ended up having to do a big life change thing, sold my house, all that, so there's like a 5-month gap, but I just put out a new episode a couple weeks ago, and I want to try to keep up doing it like once a month. I'll do an episode, but they're really fun. You should check them out. Very fast-paced, but very American in their politics and all of that. So that's what he's talking about. Now, he's also talking about that I do take a political stand online, and I'm very, very vocal about it. It used to be that was a bad thing to do because like my father, and like he just said, he would say, you're going to lose work if you take a stand on anything. You always want to stay in the middle, but you know, when the Iraq War happened with Bush, it's like it was very hard to not want to make a stand or at least put out little points here and there. And I did my best to still online seem, bipartisan for the most part because they want people to hire me for whatever. And I wrote blog. I used to have a blog back in the day when people cared you had a blog, so I would like blog about a job I did, things like that. But it really I wasn't being DC Douglas. I was being like the real surfacey part of who I am. Like, look at me, I'm working, I'm an actor, hire me, And that's boring after a while, but then what happened was, I was doing Geico campaigns. I was making really good money on them. The second campaign had ended, okay? And I was waiting, and I was about to book a third one, a different kind of campaign. But what happened there was a group called Freedom Works that was an astroturf organization, which means that they were funded by the GOP, aspects of the GOP. And this is when Obama had first got in and was trying to do healthcare for America, catch us up with the rest of the world. And they were going, this is what I said, I get triggered by bullies. They were busing in people to protest them signing it into law, and apparently there were epithets thrown at a gay congressman and also at a black congressman. And when I heard about that really triggered me. And this is what I used to do, because I wasn't doing stuff online, which is probably far healthier now. Instead, I'd like call up the organization and leave them a message. I did that with Fred Phelps. Those of you guys know him, he's the God hates blanks, guy that shows up with all the, anyway, I called him like in the 90s and had left him a Anyway, so I called FreedomWorks and I left them a message. Now, granted, I used un-PC language. I mean, I wasn't like violent. I just was. I said I'm doing a survey. I'm curious about how many of your followers have mental impairment. I used a different word, and that's what got me in trouble. And then I said, and what are you going to do when one of them, like, how are you going to spin it when one of them actually does get violent? Because people don't remember is the Tea Party was like bringing guns to these rallies. They were all about showing signs of hanging Obama and stuff like that. Anyway, so that was my message. Well, somehow the head of I'll make this so quick. I'm trying to like make this so it doesn't take up too much time. They called me to verify was I the guy that left the message, and they recorded the call when they called me. And I'm like, yeah, I did, but you know what? Healthcare pass. I don't care. I don't need to debate you now. Goodbye. So what the guy who headed up that organization, Matt Kibbe was his name, publishes on Andrew Breitbart's website at the time, Breitbart News. Posts is the Tea Party Geico Gecko. Is the Geico Gecko a Tea Party crasher? Now I didn't do the voice of the gecko, but that's how they were trying to get clicks and stuff. And they posted my original message, voicemail, and they posted the follow-up call, and then they posted my phone number, and they posted Geico's phone number, and they said, get him fired, essentially, in that thing. So all of a sudden the lawyers from Geico call me occasionally and go, is that you in that voicemail? And like I was getting hundreds of calls that day from people. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was me. It's like, but it's so stupid, it's gonna blow over today. And they're like, okay. The next day, my good friend of mine calls me and says, hey, is that new campaign you're on, the Something Amazing campaign? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I just auditioned for it. I'm like, they call me agent. Call me agent. So eventually they dropped me from the campaign. And then I said, so we tried over the weekend. He goes, is there any way I can keep the campaign? Because I thought it was like a big money. It turned out it wasn't a big money campaign. They didn't want to lose it. But they said, no, we're just going in a different direction. And I go, okay, just so you know, I totally understand, but I'm going to go after FreedomWorks. But I would leave Geico out of it. And I did a press release through PR Red, sent the press release out on Sunday night, like a pea shot out of a straw, hitting a hoop a mile away. It landed. The next morning, I'm getting calls from MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, all wanting to do interviews with me. I'm like, what is going on? I was breaking news on Fox News for a week. So at this point, I can't just be, I'm an actor, hire me on Twitter anymore. Now I'm like, yes, I'm going to battle with the Tea Party. And I ended up doing Geraldo's show that Sunday. And then I was on Joy Behar's show on CNN and stuff like that. But after that, I was like, you know what? I can't hide anymore. I can't just pretend I'm just going to be who I am as opposed to that. So now I don't have to call and leave voicemail messages. Now I make a video about it. I post it online. And it's so much more freeing. And yes, I did lose some clients, some personal clients that I had from my home studio, but there were clients I never liked anyway. And now I know why. I like, why are they so difficult to work with? I'm like, oh, now I know. So, and then actually the advertising agency hired me a month later on another campaign. It was a demo for a campaign. So I knew that they were cool with me, and that's all that really mattered. So if you want to, like, that story, if you go look up, if you Google DC Douglas Tea Party PSA, like public service announcement, you Google that, you'll get a 4-minute video that'll explain all of that about that whole experience. Sorry that was such a long-winded answer.
Okay, right, we've got 5 minutes left, so if any last questions, essentially centered around Transformers, but or anything else. We've got one down here. Is it?
Really close to the mic so we can hear you.
Do you prefer doing comedic roles, or would you rather do like dramatic villainous roles?
Oh, well, you know, it's I actually for voiceover. I don't have any preference. It's fun to. Oddly enough, Persona 5, I play Kamoshida, and near the end, he has like a whole change of heart kind of stuff that happens, and a confession, and that, you know, a lot of that dialogue was just kind of like, you know, sleazy, whatever, and then at the end, he has this very, you know, and it's like, and that was one of the first times in a voiceover session I got emotional, and I'm like, which for that game, it was really weird, but it's like, it was actually really rewarding, so I do enjoy that stuff, but comedy is always fun to do when you get to work with timing and stuff like that. On camera, I do like doing comedy because I think it comes easier for me, but that's also why I like doing drama, because of the challenge of it. My chance of failing is much higher when I do drama. Like I did the Criminal Minds episode that I'm not as proud of as I should be. They hired me, so that's good. But I like the challenge of that as an actor. So yeah.
Fabulous. I've got a question here.
Hi, sorry to bounce back to this again, but when you were saying about auditioning for Decepticons, there was a character that sprung to mind straight away that if I gave you a small description of it, I'd really be interested to hear your take on it.
Oh, my voice is so trashed right now. I don't want to call my agent. But thank you, I appreciate you giving me another shot. Come on! See, you guys probably have better Decepticon voices. How would you do the voice that you're going to audition for?
The guy who initially did it has a really grand voice and I don't. But the character in question, anyway, it was Barricade, who's also a police car, but he's an interrogator.
Oh, right. He already has the voice.
He was voiced by Jess Hornell in the Lilac.
Yeah, I ain't touching that.
He hasn't been played since though, since, but another film that we don't talk about here.
No, Jess is cool. I don't want to know. He's really talented. I don't want to. The thing is, if somebody has a role and it's like that character has somebody's voice, it's common courtesy for other actors not to touch that at all. It's like that's their gig kind of thing. So
he's currently not cast at the minute though for the animated series he's appearing in next. If that's to be believed that he's appearing, he doesn't have a voice attached to him.
I'm not quite sure. All we heard was I don't know.
So the character's apparently going to be appearing in the newest animated series, but he hasn't been cast yet.
Oh, they'll go to him. I'm sure they will.
It'd be cool if they do, because he's really well. I'm just interested to see how you'd also do it, playing a good police car and then playing a bad.
Yeah, here's the thing: is if they go to him and then he's not doing it because they're not going to meet his rate or something, then I'll audition for it. But at that point, you're voice matching somebody else who did the role, and like I said, I'm not the best at those, and I also feel weird doing it. So, so thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take we've got one more question here. Let's take one last question.
Yeah, that's it.
Which Megatron is your best Megatron?
Well, who do you think is the best Megatron?
He's gone a bit shy.
Bitch, what? See, it's a hard question. You wanted me to answer it? You can't even answer it. I think they're all. Why do we have to always talk about who the best? Why can't we love them all equally?
She said she likes the Prime one the best.
She likes which one?
Prime.
All right then, I do too.
Well, good choice. Okay.